each member of a true, sincere union may see with the other eyes of the brothers, with the eyes of the other brothers, and hear with their ears, as if each person of a true union of 10 acquires the value and strength to see with 20 eyes, think with 10 minds, hear with 20 ears, and work with 20 hands. This is also a very interesting concept. Sometimes you can see that, like in sports games, for example, right? You have like 11 guy or 5 guy, whatever, 6 guy playing in the same team, and before the other guy pass the ball or do his action, the other one knows what he's gonna do now. It's like he sees what with his eyes, as if he used his hands as his hands, so they're acting like a body, right?
Very efficient.
Efficiently. So it is as it is like this with in the material sense. If we lack this spirit in the spiritual sense, again we will not get the expected results. It's not the number of people attending there. It is not, as we read in the morning in the following section. He's pointing out that he's comparing his dawah he did in the Istanbul. He has hundreds of thousands of helpers, and he was a member of a high council, religious council. He can publish everything that he wrote, but he compared his dawah that he made in Barla, which he was in exile. He has a couple of illiterate people just assisting him, no means to even print simple things, and they just distribute the stuff with donkeys to the surrounding towns. But he says this was much more successful in the spiritual sense because of the sincerity that you show in that dawah. So the results might not be measurable with the scales of this world, but it might be very valuable in the akhirah, inshallah. Yes, there's a footnote. I want to just read that too and finish, inshallah. Yes, through the mystery of sincerity, heartfelt solidarity and union produce innumerable benefits and are also an effective shield and point of support against fear and even death. For if death comes, it takes one spirit, but since through the mystery of true brotherhood, on the way of divine pleasure in works connected with the hereafter, there are spirits to the number of brothers. If one of them dies, he meets death happily, saying, "My other spirits remain alive, for they in effect make life continue for me by constantly earning my reward. So I am not dying. I live in respect of merit through their spirits. I am only dying in respect of sin." And he lays down in peace. So again, as we said in the morning, I'm genuinely, sincerely very happy of what my brother is doing, even though I can't do that well. Alhamdulillah, he's doing this great service, he's giving this dawah. I can get the same reward on my book of deed, right? But he says this is even further. You can even continue to get that same reward after you die. If you really, your spirit is living with them, or if you really feel that union, with them. So you see with his eyes, you just like think with his mind and everything. And alhamdulillah, this is much further than what Prophet ﷺ showed us. We imams usually talk about the sadaqah jariyah, and people are very genuine, enthusiastic to do something like that. In Turkey, we have sebils, those fountains. People do so. After I die, people will come drink, and they make dua for me, or an institution, right? Or they say a child, and you have like childs or brothers like angels, all of them are like running for dawah. But how many children you can have and raise in good faith and good health, and they will just it's comparing to this, it is very limited what I can do by myself, but in this sense you have the inshallah, if we can get a share of this, you have the whole Jama'ah, maybe millions of people will be sending rewards, their good deeds to your book.
Maybe this is a form of sadaqah jariyah, plus the supplication, the dua that Ustad has instituted into the brotherhood, in which everybody prays for one another, and in which everybody prays God to share their rewards with the others. So but Sadaqah Jariyah is also in there because while in life you were a part of the formation of this body, you contributed to the formation of the body, and as those who cause are like those who do, right? You at some point at the beginning were a part of the cause. The way Sahabi get a reward from the things that we do, because if it were not for them conveying the message to us, we would not be doing it.
So even every day in the tasbihat, right? We are doing that. It's become habitual for all the students. You make dua for all the believers, and then all the people who are serving to Qur'an, and specifically the Nur students. And sometimes we also mention names of some of our brothers that are in that vicinity, maybe serving with us. In the US. So the US is large, but the dua can extend all around the world. Can go. Sometimes tell the brothers, somebody just let's say lost a beloved one back overseas. I said that for sure other relatives and your family is taking care of this case, and they're doing what they're supposed to do. But the best thing that we can do here, making dua, and doesn't matter doing it from here or at the side of the grave.
It's distributed from the same source.
Reason?
I don't know how to say it. In me it says cause.
Cause. The 20th lecture.
Like it is about how to relate to others. Not in the brotherhood, but in the others in the brotherhood, but especially others serving for similar causes. Second cause. The agreement among the people of misguidance is on account of their abasement, and the dispute among the people of guidance is on account of their dignity. That is to say, that the people of neglect, those misguided ones sunk in worldly concerns, are weak and abased because they do not rely on truth and reality. On account of their abasement, they need to augment their strength, and because of this need, they wholeheartedly embrace the aid and cooperation of others. Even though the path they follow is misguidance, they preserve their agreement. It is as if they were making their godlessness into a form of worship of the truth, their misguidance into a form of sincerity, their irreligion into a form of solidarity, and their hypocrisy into concord, and thus attaining success. For genuine sincerity, even for the sake of evil, cannot fail to yield results, and whatever man seeks with sincerity, God will grant him. But as for the people of guidance and religion, the religious scholars and those who follow the Sufi path, since they rely upon truth and reality, and each of them on the road of truth thinks only of his sustainer and trusts in his succor, they derive dignity from their belief. When they feel weakness, they turn not toward men, but toward God, and seek help from Him. On account of difference in outlook, they feel no real need for the aid of the one whose outlook apparently opposes their own, and see no need for agreement and unity. Indeed, if obstinacy and egoism are present, and it is present, one will imagine himself to be right and the other to be wrong. Discord and rivalry take the place of concord and love. Thus, sincerity is chased away and its function disrupted. Now, the only remedy for the critical consequences of this awesome state consists of 9 commands. 1. To act positively, that is, out of love for one's own outlook, avoiding enmity for other outlooks, not criticizing them, interfering in their beliefs and sciences, or in any way concerning oneself with them. So avoiding enmity for other outlooks, not criticizing them, not interfering in their beliefs and sciences, or in any way concerning oneself with them. 2. This is called positive action, right? 2. To unite within the fold of Islam, irrespective of particular outlooks, remembering those numerous ties of unity that evoke love, brotherhood, and concord. And treatise on the brotherhood is in a sense an opening about this. 3. To adopt the just rule of conduct that the follower of any right outlook has the right to say, my outlook is true or the best, but not that my outlook alone is true, or that my outlook alone is good, thus implying the falsity or repugnance of all other outlooks. 4. To consider that union with the people of truth is a cause of divine succor and the high dignity of religion. Consider that union with the people of truth is a cause of divine succor and high dignity of religion. 5. To realize that the individual resistance of the most powerful person against attacks through its genius of the mighty collective force of the people of misguidance and falsehood, which arises from their solidarity, will inevitably be defeated. To realize that the individual resistance of the most powerful person against the attacks through its genius. What's this? I don't get it.
Misguidance has this genius attack.
So against the attacks of the mighty collective force of the people of misguidance and falsehood, because that collective force amounts to a genius, right?
Yeah.
Even the resistance of the most powerful individual will be defeated before that. And through the union of the people of truth to create a joint and collective force also, in order to preserve justice and right in the face of that fearsome collective force of misguidance. 6. In order to preserve truth from the assaults of falsehood. 7. So the 6. The purpose is to preserve truth from the assaults of falsehood. 7. To abandon the self and its egoism. 8. And give up the mistaken concept of self-pride. And 9. And cease from all insignificant feelings aroused by rivalry. If this ninefold rule is adhered to, sincerity will be preserved and its function perfectly performed. It is even recorded in authentic traditions of the Prophet that at the end of time, the truly pious among the Christians will unite with the people of the Qur'an and fight their common enemy, that's irreligion. And at this time, too, the people of religion and truth need to unite sincerely, not only with their own brothers and fellow believers, but also with the truly pious and spiritual ones, the Christians, ones among the Christians, temporarily from the discussion and debate of points of difference in order to combat their joint enemy, that's aggressive atheism.
Very important points.
Our relations with Christians, he is advising us to emphasize the common points. Huh? We are in the same cause with you against the irreligion, against the immorality. Showing the common points, we are from the same.
So it's like to seek points of cooperation and common purpose to the extent that it's possible under all circumstances. I don't think he talks about this anywhere, but I'm thinking like, say, on the question of environment, you can make common point with Buddhists too, or like with anybody, right? Or on the question of ending famines in various parts of the world, you can make common purpose.
Conference, right? You attended.
Yes.
Attended the conference. Angela gave a speech too, right?
I did.
No comment.
So, missed your point, man.
So you were talking about like the cooperating with people of different even religions to against some common enemies or to achieve common goals.
In that sense.
And environment was an example actually, so you immediately came to mind because you are such an environmentalist. Speaking at conferences and all, you know.
So then you realize Buddhists, the Shia and the Wahhabis and so many.
So, but be careful, I mean, when you say combined, you know, like
Yeah.
on specific topics, common goals. I mean, otherwise, you know, you might be labeled as bid'ah.
Not Risale-i, I say. Not Shia and Wahhabis. It's a very good point. I haven't seen any other work doing that. Really, somebody who calls himself, Salafi or Ahl Sunnah can read many parts of Risale-i and enjoy it, and on the other side, somebody who calls himself, defines himself as Ahl al-Tariqa, will find many truths in the Risale, and true for Shia Sunni thing. Everybody can find something. Yeah, it's not
Christians.
Without
They find something.
excluding, none of them brings them together under the common cause.
Under the roof of humanity.
Most of the time,
If you are good.
whenever you ask,
Come
either they point finger to the other and say kafir, or the other side is kafir, or the other side.
How should we?
As you said, it's not also, you know, what do you call it, giving away certain principles, you know. It's not like, you know, some
Compromise.
extreme liberals, you know, whoever you are, come. You know, it's not like that, you know, it's holding the fundamental principles, but still, you know, says that here you go, you know, these are your commonalities. And
So what type of like an action items? I mean, if this is a discussion that we should take something away in terms of our daily lives and actions that we can modify on ourselves to better serve Islam and Qur'an, based on all these that we read in the morning session and here. Ismail, what would you think are actions that we need to take?
We were planning for this week,
What verb?
actions. What should be done?
No, but like actions based on what we have read today. Like what can an individual do in order to make sure that he is closer to this meaning? I mean, there are these nice principles that we are reading, right? Like we need to unite, we need to cooperate. But like what I can change in myself today to go towards that goal.
In our relations with other among the Muslims, we can emphasize those principles, 9 principles. When we come together with members of other da'wahs, we can emphasize those to increase consciousness about the being a member of the wide Muslim communities. We should do this. We should unite against our enemies. Mostly, I emphasize this point. For example, when I come together with tariqa, I show the 21st or 20th or 21st flashes. We should be in favor of being a member of, for example, tariqa. Mashallah, you continue, you strengthen your da'wah and so on. You are serving to Qur'an and so on. So Ustad says that we should be in favor of those people who are serving to Qur'an rather than attracting them to our service. You should appreciate their services. MashaAllah, you're doing good from your service and so on. This telling you should be pleased wherever they benefit, however they do, what kind of service they do. So we can emphasize these points when we have relations with other people from other path, Quranic path, any path which is suitable to the Quran and Sunnah. My point is a general point.
In terms of immediately what we can do is like one thing that I'm taking away from this is, even though I've read that many times, we have read that many times, we can still have this nafsi, sickness that wants to say that they are doing that wrong and they are doing that wrong, and what you mean, like the sickness of criticism. I guess we may need to, or I may need to work on making that more. Following the principle of what I do is good, what I do is best, but not the good is what I do. And when that happens, it actually helps us spread the truths, the principles, the lessons that Ustad has in the Risale-i too, because when we approach everybody else in this way, we then establish those bonds. We have the opportunity to establish those bonds with them too, and that's the beginning of communicating what's in here. If you don't talk to people, you cannot communicate what's in here to them. Right? And to talk to people, you need to be appreciative of what they are doing, to approach them with sincerity, without hidden agendas. I was also thinking of earlier the introduction to his mentoring fair, like when you asked about action.
Yes.
Like there are things that are like like thinking about Zaman, there's something they say like he has taken the maqam siddiqiyat, the station of veracity, and he has become the representative of the spiritual personality of the family of the house, the prophetic house, and he is leading the service of the Qur'an. Right? These are observations, but they also impart a responsibility on those who assume themselves to be readers or followers of Zaman, because that means that there are many people out there who are serving the cause of the Qur'an. Then that means that this time, if we believe that this is true, that means that this time everybody else who are serving the cause of the Qur'an need these principles to succeed. And we are obliged, we have an obligation to communicate these principles to them, not to make them nurjus, but to help them excel in what they are doing.
Also advising, you don't need to give up your tariqah.
Yeah,
you can, and you can broaden your tariqah. I think preface. Ali will get obvious. Risale doesn't have any person who is following another path. Come here. No, you can continue your path, but you can broaden your path with the haqaiq iman, the pillars of iman and Risale. Shine or make it brilliant your way. Tafakkur.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.